updates, a new laboratory confirmed COVID-19 case has been reported.
The Ministry of Health confirmed one new case of COVID-19 in the Gambia few hours after all treatment centers became empty. The merriment in observation of the 2020 International Workers' Day, also known as May Day, will not be as usual because of COVID-19. Stadia in Kenya have been torn into isolation centers as authorities step up efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19. This and more coming on The World Today. Hello, this is Africa TV. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. The Gambia has confirmed one more new case, of course, of coronavirus, bringing the total number of cases of the virus since March 17 to 11. As of Tuesday, the number of active cases has gone down to 0 after repeat tests of the last case in treatment centers came out of negative. 8 people had been successfully treated and discharged. One died, but health officials are worried about how foreign nationals are getting into the country despite closure of border ports. More details of that in this insert.
So the updates, a new laboratory confirmed COVID-19 case has been reported. Until this latest development, the newly confirmed case, who is a Senegalese national, was in quarantine on account of recent travel history to Senegal. Out of the 24 new laboratory tests received, 1 tested positive and the other 23 were negative. 10 new persons taken into quarantine, 4 of whom were close contacts of the newly confirmed case. 2 additional low-risk contacts have been traced, making the total number of people being regularly followed up to be 101 people. This is ongoing to ascertain manifestation of symptoms of COVID-19. The country currently has 99 persons under quarantine, 2 active cases, and no probable case.
For more situations on the COVID-19, we go with this report.
With about 8 people in quarantine center, the number fluctuates regularly as the arrival of foreign nationals also continues to be a case for concern for the Ministry of Health, despite the closure of all border posts. Out of the 10 positive cases in the country since March 17, 8 have been discharged after successful treatment. 1 had died and the remaining case in treatment is clear of the virus. Dr. Mustafa Bitey, Director of Health Services, said of the 33 negative lab results, 1 was a repeat test of the only case under treatment for COVID-19.
10 new persons taken into quarantine and newly discharged patients to be followed up for another 2 weeks. On case management component, so as of now there's only 1 COVID-19 patient is asymptomatic and currently isolated at the treatment facility. The patient was resampled, another sample was collected and it tested negative. Another negative sample is required to ascertain recovery status.
10 new persons, including 1 Senegalese and 1 Guinean, are in quarantine on account of traveling into the country from Senegal, where the number of cases has exceeded 700. With a view to strengthen preventive measures, the Ministry of Health will now conduct voluntary tests of all patients with respiratory symptoms at all health facilities, irrespective of their health complaints.
Sensitization of the public on the existence of burial teams in all health regions. Fumigation of homes of newly discharged patients who have recovered from COVID-19. strengthen RRTs and contact tracing teams at all regions, expand isolation centers in all major health facilities and hospitals, deploy newly hired health personnel in their duty stations.
Dr. Bitey appealed to communities along the borderlines to remain vigilant and report all informal entries or suspected activities of immediate response by health authorities. For iAfrica News, I am Juldenjai Suare.
The Gambia have confirmed one more new case of the coronavirus, and from that report on the situation of the COVID-19 in the Gambia, next we head to Kenya. Now, health workers in Kenya are turning local playing grounds into isolation centers as part of containment measures against the COVID-19. The move is geared towards widening the country's plan to deal with the deadly disease as the number of cases are in the increase. Citizens are resolved to stand by the government in its plans to contain the virus. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Frontline healthcare workers and officials in Kenya's Machakos County are turning the local stadium into an isolation facility. Doctors and nurses assemble ventilators and other equipment in readiness for the worst, a possible sharp rise in confirmed COVID-19 admissions.
The Stadia facility and the other 122-bed facilities in our various facilities is going to help us to curb the virus. So we are just planning ahead. So far we don't have a case, but we don't know what will happen tomorrow.
This makeshift facility hurriedly assembled to deal with the dire situation.
If we see numbers are increasing, we'll be able to set up 5 more tents within that stadium to increase the number to from 60 to 300 beds. It's doable, and it is a quicker and cheaper way of rather than setting up a whole hospital or destabilizing an hospital to make it a COVID-19 exclusive.
We've had several leaders coming up with structures in order to curb or to prepare itself for the coronavirus victims. The only thing we can do as residents is to support the initiative.
At the main hospital in Machakos, an oxygen supply system has been set up for those who might experience shortness of breath. The goal is to continue its usual services under unusual circumstances.
Coronavirus has put an immense strain on Africa's healthcare systems, prompting governments to build new makeshift hospitals and testing facilities to help contain the spread of the virus.
The pandemic has sent countries scrambling to ramp up testing efforts while maintaining bed space for other patients in their hospitals. With the battle to contain the virus still raging, the frontline caregivers are just not about to give up, sacrificing their time, setting aside their normal lives to attend to those in dire need of medical attention. With the overwhelming healthcare challenges, African countries may need to reconsider bolstering their healthcare systems to cope with the rising infections.
And from the report there in Nairobi, Kenya, we come back home because the National Assembly member for Nyamina East has chosen to differ with the Vice President of the Gambia on definition of youth in the country. The youngest member of the House instead argued that government lacks the initiative to attract youth to employment purposes. For more details of that in this report.
National Assembly member for Nyamina East has dispelled the suggestion by the Vice President that young people are lazy because they refuse to give labor to offload food consignment provided for by the government as food relief due to the COVID-19. Dr. Aissatou Touré has suggested that loading and offloading of about 200,000 bags of rice was a ready-made job which the youth should have taken up.
You will find that most of the young people who are offloading and uploading are not Gambians. And this is a bitter experience that I have seen as a vice president. When I listen to the radio and TV, what I hear, the young people and people complaining about unemployment for the young. And for the last 2-3 days, we have been looking for laborers who can come and be paid. It's not that they are not going to be paid, but there is hardly any Gambian who is here. All these people you are seeing uploading and offloading are Guineans, Malians, Senegalese, or Sierra Leoneans and other nationalities. You see, so this is a big surprise. To say that there is no job, this is a great job. The amount of work that these people are going to do, they're going to earn a lot of money here, and they will also, this is dignified.
However, Omar Sise urged Dr. Toure to withdraw her statement and apologize to the youths, reminding her of the crucial role of the youth in ending an era of dictatorship in 2016.
We should come and withdraw the statement and apologize to the people of this country, because if you take a historical journey, one will recall that during the 2016 presidential campaign, the young people were not far behind in the campaigns. The young people were not far behind in making sure that we realize change or end dictatorship in this country. So the fact that the young people were in the struggle, the fact that the young people fought very hard, tooth and nail, and risked their life to end dictatorship, one must be very careful with what you have to say. One must guard his or her language in whatsoever that you have to, in whatever information that you have to relate to the people of this nation.
The Gambia Democratic Congress parliamentarian argued that the Barrow-led government has not created enough job opportunities for young people since coming to power, and that the current system seems to drive in without a blueprint for the youth of the country.
There is no job opportunity for the young people. That is the reality on the ground, because it's a clear indication. Having listened to what the Vice President has to say, it's a clear indication that there is no platform, there is no avenue, there is no opportunity that is actually planned for the young people. There is no blueprint in other words, because the fact that the Vice President is calling that a job creation, that is a clear indication that there is no proper study of the young people, there is no comprehensive plan for the young people.
The lawmaker has been in public view since he pledged to plow his April and May 2020 salaries back to his constituency to support the fight against COVID-19. He had also challenged his colleagues in government to consider similar initiatives. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Aminata Job.
And from that report there by Aminata Job, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the stories. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
COVID-19. Leave no one behind. Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that cause illness, ranging from the common cold to more severe lung diseases. COVID-19 is the most recently discovered disease caused by coronavirus. As we fight this pandemic, we must be kind by supporting others. COVID-19 is not specific to any sex, gender, race, nationality, or skin color. So, let us not stigmatize or discriminate against anyone or certain groups. Fear of exclusion and discrimination may result in those who may have contracted COVID-19, including migrants, to hide their symptoms rather than seek treatment. This puts everyone at risk of getting sick. In many contexts, people who migrate to work, study, or join their families are key players in nation building, including combating COVID-19. Let us all play our role in challenging misinformation and discrimination against migrants. Be considerate of others' needs and do what you can to help. Encourage others to wash their hands frequently. Avoid touching their face, eyes, mouth, and nose. Practice proper cough etiquette. Avoid public places. Practice social distancing and stay at home if they feel unwell. The Gambia is called the Smiling Coast because its people are kind. Let's show that kindness in fighting COVID-19, our common enemy. Let's fight it together. For more information, or if you experience any symptoms, dial 1025.
Welcome back. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV, and now to the rest of the stories. President Adam Barrow has declared Friday, the 1st of May, as public holiday throughout the Gambia in observance of the 2020 Workers' Day. In a media release from the Office of the President on Wednesday, workers are encouraged to stay home and continue to abide by the preventive health measures to stay safe against the coronavirus. He acknowledged the economic impact of COVID-19 on workers and has launched the government food support response to COVID-19, among other measures. In the Gambia, the International Labour Day, also known as Workers' Day, and in some aspects, May Day, is observed in a day-long sporting events by workers in government and non-government organizations under the coordination of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And from that development, next we head to Zimbabwe, because living conditions in the country is reportedly becoming more challenging as the price of food commodities significantly increased. Authorities have warned traders not to increase the price, but with the low production of goods and services due to the country's lockdown, prices are expected to go higher. The business sector is calling for dialogue to ease the situation. For more details of that, in this report.
Life is hard for Memory Jonasi and her family, which includes 5 children and 4 grandchildren. It's a daily struggle to feed them, she tells me, especially given her low earnings, whose purchasing power has rapidly been weakened by rising inflation.
100 Zimbabwean dollars used to buy me some green vegetables, onions, tomatoes and cucumbers. Now I can only get onions, a few tomatoes and even fewer cucumbers.
To cope, she has been forced to take drastic measures.
We no longer have breakfast. We only eat lunch and in the evening. We've stopped eating meat, and our meals are maize meal with either soya beans or vegetables. It's been difficult for the children to adjust, but they're slowly getting used to it.
The annual inflation has hit a 10-year high. It's expected to rise even further due to the supply shocks caused by a nationwide lockdown that's halted manufacturing for more than a month. The government has ordered retailers to reduce prices of basic commodities to what they were before March 25th. It's a move meant to relieve hard-hit consumers, but which, from previous experience, could have unintended consequences. In 2008, at the peak of an economic meltdown, price controls led to empty shelves and some retailers closing shop. However, there have been consultations to avoid a similar crisis this time round.
For us to assure supply, basically it is the area that we are now working on to ensure that the key manufacturers and like oil processors, millers, as well as other that are involved, at least get support in terms of foreign currency.
Stakeholders say a guaranteed supply of foreign currency at the official rate will ensure uninterrupted supply of the basic commodities at prices that are within reach of everyone.
And from that report in Zimbabwe, we come back home, and because the University of the Gambia is facing challenges on implementations of the distance learning in the wake of the COVID-19, students at the Kanifing campus spoke to Africa on their experiences so far. Here is the details.
The migration of the University of the Gambia to the digital platform is being great with hurdles about 2 weeks after the commencement of the online classes as a result to the coronavirus lockdown. Administration of the highest academic institution in the country decided to end the COVID-19 break by mounting up to 800 courses online in partnership with the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology.
Avoid imposing networks to people, whether you are a lecturer or a student. There was, as the president of the student union rightly said, there was a survey form that was given out, prepared by our IT department, for students and lecturers to choose the network that will give them the GSM operator that will really give them network to follow all these things. If you are somewhere you think that you won't have network, then you choose another network. It's up to the individual, the student or the lecturer, to determine which network he wants. And
one aspect of the challenge has to do with the accessibility to the digital platform. A number of students are either not able to afford the cost of the data bytes to go online or lack handy gadgets compatible with the system being used. Anna Jaju, a third-year development student, is compelled to request for support to upgrade the version of her phone.
And normally, for you to be able to register, you must have a phone that has a version of 7.8. So unfortunately for us, there are other places that the network are not favorable, so we had to come to the school for them to give us other SIM cards to enable us access these loans. And secondly also, as you can see, the school, the student union with the collaboration of the admin has taken it deemed necessary for them to give loan for students to access these registrations. But unfortunately, the deadline are very, very short and students are not able to access these loans.
The online platform is expected to accommodate more than 6,000 students across the country, but the registration is still a bottleneck to many of them. A student union aspiring leader, Usman Jassi, mobilized a team to help in guiding some of the desperate ones to join the ferry.
So basically what we are doing with the members of my team, since the commencement of this online registration process or lectures, we understand that a number of students have been facing difficulties. As a result of that, we came together as a team wishing to contest for elections. We brought in individuals who are willing to volunteer to help students in the registration process, to help students in the compilation and submission of registered numbers to the various GSM operators so that they can be customized or configured.
The university administration circulated an email to all students requesting all those using the AfriCell line to drop that for either that of the national GSM, GAMCell or QCell, in what it described as breach of contract on the side of the Lebanese-owned GSM company. Student Union President Ibrahima El Damfa explains the scenario.
In moments, these are times that the government, the people, and the society needs the private and the public sector in all aspects. You know, these are times that the institutions should step up and play their corporate social responsibility. And the university, I'm talking at the level of the student union, is not asking AfriCell to provide this for free or any other GSM operator, even though it is free at the level of the student because the students will access it for free. But the university will look at it technically is paying for it, because if you buy credit you have bonus. Why did you have bonus even though if it is free? Because you buy credit or you bought credit. So you know, it's not lame, it is unexpected, and I think you know, the higi now is scheduled or is now solved in a manner because even official acknowledge, and we're moving on and hope to have a future partnership with them.
More than $5 million has been budgeted by the management of the University of the Gambia for the holding of these online classes. However, looking at the rough start of the sessions, it is very unlikely that the examination scheduled for this summer will go according to plan. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Aissatou Tamba.
And from that report there by Aissatou Tamba, finally we head to South Sudan, where business owners in the country devise means to provide affordable sanitary materials for citizens as measures to cope the spread of the coronavirus disease. Most businesses were seriously affected during the lockdown, but others have alternatives to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. The citizens have also saluted the initiative, saying it can help minimize the challenges. Here is more details of that in this report.
Timal Ahmed owned a shop selling construction materials in Juba before a partial lockdown was imposed in South Sudan. When South Sudan's government ordered that all shops be closed except those that sell food, Timal had no business. He then started adapting these containers to be used for hand washing.
I heard that there is no medicine for coronavirus. The preventive measures include washing hands with soap. I am happy to contribute to prevent the spread of coronavirus by making these hand-washing containers. The country still has few confirmed cases, and so far, all is going well.
Timal says he is selling between 150 to 200 of these a day. Each of these containers cost about $1, and many here say they are more affordable compared to imported hand-washing containers. Many Juba residents are relying on Timal's containers to set up hand-washing points and promote hygiene as a measure to slow the spread of COVID-19.
These containers are very good. I'm putting one at my gate. Whoever's coming into the compound must wash their hands, whether they're children or adults. Hand washing for us used to be only when you're going to eat food, but that's not the case now, and the containers are really helping us.
Timal says he is thinking of what other products he could make to contribute to containing the outbreak in his country.
That report there in Juba, South Sudan, will finally bring this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, you can also look on our website on iafrica.tv. Many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay safe and thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Have your say.
Fellow Gambians, my government has approved a $500 million emergency fund, which the ministries